Hey everyone! What if I told you that right now, as you're watching this video, there's probably something in your kitchen that's literally shortening your life with every bite? And no, I'm not being dramatic here. The World Health Organization has called it one of the most dangerous substances in our food supply, and they're working to eliminate it globally by 2025. I'm talking about trans fats, and by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why. This stuff is so terrifying that entire countries have banned it outright. Trust me, after seeing the research I'm about to share with you, you'll never look at your grocery shopping the same way again. So let's start with the basics. Trans fats are basically fake fats that don't exist in nature. They're created through an industrial process called partial hydrogenation, where hydrogen is pumped into liquid vegetable oils. To make them solid at room temperature, think of it as turning something natural into something completely artificial. Now here's where it gets sneaky. These trans fats are hiding everywhere in our food supply. We're talking about margarine, obviously, but also those innocent-looking crackers in your pantry, the cookies your kids love, fast food French fries, frozen pizzas, microwave popcorn, and even some coffee creamers. Basically, if it's processed and has a long shelf life, there's a good chance it contains trans fats. The food industry loves this stuff because it makes products last forever and gives them that perfect texture we crave. But here's the thing they don't want you to know. While it's great for their bottom line, it's absolutely devastating for your health. Let me hit you with some numbers that will absolutely blow your mind. The Harvard School of Public Health conducted a massive study following over 80,000 women for 14 years, and what they found was terrifying. For every 2% increase in trans fat calories consumed daily, the risk of heart disease jumped by 23%. Now, 2% might not sound like much, but we're talking about just 2 grams of trans fat per day. That's less than what you'd get in a single serving of some popular snack foods. The Nurses' Health Study, which followed participants for 2 decades, found that women consuming the highest amounts of trans fats had a 50% higher risk of sudden cardiac death compared to those consuming the least. But here's what makes trans fats uniquely dangerous. They're the only type of fat that simultaneously raises your bad cholesterol while lowering your good cholesterol. It's like they're specifically designed to destroy your cardiovascular system. Dr. Dariush Mozaffarian from Harvard Medical School put it perfectly when he said that trans fats are probably the most harmful ingredient in our food supply. Now, if heart disease wasn't scary enough, let's talk about strokes. A study published in the Annals of Neurology followed over 87,000 women for 14 years, and the results were absolutely shocking. Women who consumed the most trans fats had a 39% higher risk of stroke compared to those who consumed the least. Think about that for a second. We're not talking about some tiny statistical difference here. We're talking about a nearly 40% increase in your chances of having a stroke, just from eating trans fats. The researchers found that trans fats promote inflammation throughout your entire vascular system, making blood clots more likely and your blood vessels more prone to damage. What's particularly terrifying is that strokes often happen without warning. One day you're fine, the next day, you're fighting for your life or dealing with permanent disability. And trans fats are literally loading the dice against you every single time you eat them. Here's where things get even more concerning. The same Harvard study I mentioned earlier found that trans fat consumption is directly linked to type 2 diabetes. For every 2% of daily calories from trans fats, the risk of developing diabetes increased by 39%. But why does this happen? Trans fats interfere with your body's ability to use insulin, effectively, a condition called insulin resistance. Essentially, your body starts ignoring insulin signals to lower blood sugar, so your pancreas has to work overtime, pumping out more and more insulin until it eventually can't keep up. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that people consuming the highest amounts of trans fats had insulin sensitivity that was 20% lower than those consuming the least. That's your body literally becoming less able to regulate blood sugar with every trans fat-laden meal you eat. This one really got to me when I first read about it. Research published in the journal Neurology found that higher trans fat consumption is associated with worse memory, reduced cognitive function, and even brain shrinkage. We're talking about your brain literally getting smaller. The study followed over 1,000 adults for several years and found that those with the highest blood levels of trans fats performed significantly worse on memory tests and had measurably smaller brain volumes on MRI scans. The researchers believe trans fats cause inflammation in the brain and interfere with the formation of new neural connections. Even more disturbing, a study published in Alzheimer's and Dementia found that people with the highest trans fat intake had more than double the risk of developing dementia compared to those with the lowest intake. We're talking about trans fats, potentially stealing your memories and your ability to think clearly as you age. For those of you planning to have kids or currently trying, this information is absolutely crucial. The Harvard School of Public Health conducted a study of over 18,000 women trying to conceive, and they found that women consuming the most trans fats had a 73% higher risk of ovulatory infertility compared to those consuming the least. But it gets worse. Trans fats can cross the placenta during pregnancy and interfere with fetal development. Studies have shown that pregnant women consuming high amounts of trans fats are more likely to have babies with lower birth weights and compromised immune systems. The European Journal of Clinical Nutrition published research showing that trans fat consumption during pregnancy can interfere with the development of the baby's brain and nervous system. We're literally talking about potentially affecting your child's intelligence and neurological development before they're even born. So what happens if you keep eating trans fats over years or decades? The picture that emerges from the research is absolutely terrifying. Your arteries gradually become clogged and inflamed, like old pipes getting gunked up with sludge. Your blood pressure rises as your heart struggles to pump blood through increasingly narrow passages. Meanwhile, chronic inflammation spreads throughout your body, like a slow-burning fire. This isn't just some abstract concept. We're talking about your immune system being in a constant state of alert, wearing itself out fighting an enemy that never goes away. This chronic inflammation is linked to virtually every major disease, from cancer to arthritis to autoimmune disorders. Your metabolism becomes increasingly dysfunctional. Your body loses its ability to properly process nutrients, regulate blood sugar, and maintain a healthy weight. It's like trans fats reprogram your cellular machinery to work against you instead of for you. Perhaps most disturbing of all, these changes are largely irreversible. While your body can heal from many types of damage, the arterial damage caused by trans fats tends to be permanent. You're essentially taking years off your life with every trans fat-containing meal. But here's the good news. You don't have to sacrifice flavor to eliminate trans fats from your life. Let me share some incredibly simple swaps that will actually make your food taste better while protecting your health. Instead of margarine, try mashed avocado on your toast. It sounds weird, I know, but hear me out. Avocados are loaded with heart-healthy monounsaturated fats, fiber, and potassium. Just mash half an avocado with a pinch of salt and a squeeze of lemon juice. It's creamy, satisfying, and actually more flavorful than margarine. For baking, replace butter or margarine with applesauce or mashed bananas. I was skeptical about this at first, but it works incredibly well in muffins, quick breads, and even some cookies. You get natural sweetness, moisture, and none of the harmful fats. Here's my favorite simple recipe: chocolate avocado mousse. Blend 2 ripe avocados with a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, 3 tablespoons of honey or maple syrup, and a splash of vanilla extract. It tastes like decadent chocolate mousse, but it's actually incredibly healthy. My kids have no idea they're eating avocados. For cooking, use extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, or avocado oil instead of processed vegetable oils. These natural fats are not only safer, they actually enhance the flavors of your food. And if you're craving something crunchy, try air frying vegetables with just a light coating of olive oil instead of reaching for processed snacks. Here's something the food industry doesn't want you to know. They're really good at hiding trans fats on ingredient labels. Even if a product says 0 grams trans fat on the nutrition label, it can still contain up to 0.5 grams per serving. And let's be honest, who actually sticks to the tiny serving sizes they list on packages? Look for these code words on ingredient lists: partially hydrogenated oils, vegetable shortening, or margarine. If you see any of these, put the product back on the shelf immediately. Your future self will thank you. The choice is yours, but now you have the information. You need to make the right one. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make today. Don't let them down.